Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and as you can see, I have been busy harvesting poppy pods from my garden to be able to collect the seed so that I'll have seed available for sale next fall. Now I've already collected almost 3 Talenti containers worth of seed, and I still have tons of poppies out in the garden that aren't quite ripe. So I'm definitely counting this year as a successful poppy seed harvest. Of course, there's more than just poppies to harvest at this time of year. So today I'm going to get started on harvesting the Larkspur seeds. So let me show you how that process is done. The first step in seed saving is knowing how to identify when the seed is ripe. So the Larkspur are in a couple different stages that I want to show you. Here is a stalk that some of the pods are ripe, but a lot are still green. This you'd be better off just waiting, because the easiest way to do it is to cut it like down here. And that will be better when the whole thing is dry, because all of these up here are immature still, so they're not necessarily going to be viable seed. Now in contrast, you can see this stage. Oops, there's the first stage. Here's one next to it that's a little bit further along. It still has some green at the top, but it's mostly brown. But ideally, what you're looking for is something like this, where, come on, focus. There we go. Where the whole thing, all the way to the tip, and you can see the black seed. So basically, this is really hard to do holding a phone, but I'm gonna cut it down to about there. I'm gonna grab it. Okay, there we go. So there is the stalk, and now I'm just gonna invert it into a bucket so that the seeds will fall out and be collected. And you can see the seeds come out. They're not as vigorous of a seeder compared to the poppies. I try to keep these on long stalks, and again, just like the poppies, I let them go downward into the bucket. And I usually let them do that for sometimes up to a week or 2 weeks. That way I know for sure all the seed is out. The more you break the seed pods up, the harder it is to clean the seed. So I find the less you do, the better. Just tapping it and letting nature take its course is the best approach for collecting your Larkspur seeds. So now I'm just gonna walk around the garden and be on the lookout for the first dried Larkspur seed heads that there are. Put them into my bucket, and then I'll show you the final processing steps. Well, there wasn't that much Larkspur to harvest. Most of it isn't ripe at all. So I just have a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and leave these stems right in the bucket. And for now, they're just gonna kind of be stashed under the joggling board on the front porch so the bucket's easy to get to. I've been out collecting poppy seeds this morning and was reminded that I'm in competition with the birds because they like to eat the ripe seeds as well. So that's actually, I think, an added bonus for growing this mix of cottage garden spring flowering plants, because it's great for feeding your local bird population. All right, I'm really impressed with my poppy harvest. These will go into the refrigerator. I didn't collect nearly as much Larkspur, but that's because most of it is still not mature enough to harvest. I'm just gonna leave these stalks right in the bucket. I'm gonna stash the bucket right here on my covered front porch where I'll have easy access, but it'll stay out of rain. And that's really important as you're drying these seeds out long term to make sure that they don't get any moisture. So often I will actually put these into a shed, like my attached shed that's climate controlled. That way I also know that animals aren't getting into the buckets, but definitely don't store them not under a roof where they could potentially get rain or irrigation water. Now, the one thing about Larkspur, they're one of the last seeds to finish ripening for the season. So I was thinking about it today. I'm like, this is why I always have less Larkspur than other seeds, because I get impatient and I just kind of mow it down before I collect all the seed. And that's certainly an option for any of you who have done this installation and it's starting to bother you because it doesn't look pretty. If you don't want to save the seed, you can go ahead and mow it down at this point and get it replanted. You know, for me, I'm growing it for the seed, so I have at least another, realistically, probably a week and a half or 2 weeks before I will get this bed dismantled and replanted. But I know from experience that that timing is totally good, and the garden will grow really rapidly, and you'll never even know that I was late to plant. Well, I hope that you will tune in tomorrow when I go over the details of how to collect bachelor button seeds, which I've already gotten a great start on. You can see I have 2 containers bound for the refrigerator. And be sure to subscribe to the Breathe the Plant Lady YouTube channel for more practical gardening advice. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Happy seed saving.